Hello, my name is Sophie Watts and I will be sharing with you today my EDU4SEG AT1. So I'll begin by sharing my screen and commence the presentation. So, rationale and opportunities for global teachers. There is so much opportunities for teachers to learn from their students about their differing cultures. As crucial stakeholders in education, teachers make personal and pedagogical sense of how cultural diversity should be incorporated into daily classroom activities. Accordingly, the role of teacher beliefs is crucial to explain the complexity of teacher instruction, according to Savitilo, Juang, Badra, and Sashana in 2018. Teacher beliefs are seen as individual cognitive conceptions in constant relation to behaviour and external environment, which means that teacher beliefs are influenced by their behaviour and what is happening in their external environment. Teacher beliefs reflect their views towards incorporating culturally diverse content into daily teaching and learning activities. More specifically, beliefs teachers have regarding the role of culture in the different areas of knowledge affect what and how they teach. This means that teachers' personal beliefs play a major role in classroom practice, and therefore it is essential that teachers are unbiased when completing classroom instruction and are culturally sensitive at all times. However, we know that for some teachers who may have many students representing many different cultures within their classroom, this can sometimes seem like an overwhelming task. As for teachers, we have a long way to go when it comes to being culturally competent teachers. Research from Germany suggests that colour evasive beliefs may be inherent in a broader perspective of equality and inclusion. The emphasis of equality and inclusion is primarily on promoting equal treatment across groups to undermine stereotyping and prejudice in order to combat racism and discrimination. This also implies emphasising between group similarities and downplaying differences. It is also known that teachers who held colour-silent beliefs therefore did their students a misjustice, as they often admitted to limiting classroom discussion about any kind of race, religion, or ethnicity. Said teachers agree to doing this because they feel uncomfortable or slightly reluctant to discuss these topics in the classroom context. It is empirical that teachers learn that being silent or avoiding talking about different cultures is not avoiding discriminating students, because in order to do that, teachers need to treat all students equal. Being a culturally responsive teacher means to be self-critical and self-conscious about their own personal beliefs and cultural diversity, and be aware of teaching behaviours that could be implemented in order to be culturally responsive. So to keep things simple, a global teacher is someone who teaches about the world, its history and its cultures. Predominantly, a global teacher creates a classroom environment that encourages diversity and also is current with international trends, as well as someone who thinks and acts globally as well as locally with worldwide perspectives on a number of different topics. Global competence in teachers is a set of essential knowledge, critical dispositions and performances that help foster development of learners' global competence. A globally competent teacher has knowledge of the world, critical global issues, their local impact and the cultural backgrounds of their learners, manifests intercultural sensitivity and acceptance of difference, incorporates this knowledge and sensitivity into classroom practice, and develops the skills to foster these dispositions, knowledge and performances in their learners. The teacher models socially responsible action and creates opportunities for learners to engage in socially responsible action, according to Sophie and Manis in 2015. Some of these characteristics have resonated with me, as I believe that it is imperative that teachers have a current understanding of what is happening in the world around them. I also believe that it is important to connect global trends with local trends where applicable, so that students are able to understand that their behaviour does have an impact. The main characteristic that resonated with me was that global competent teachers encourage acceptance of difference within their classrooms. I think that this plays a major role in helping model acceptable behaviour to students of all ages, not only specific to the classroom. And according to Gay in 2013, a culturally responsive teacher is a teacher who teaches to the strengths of ethnically diverse students and which uses cultural knowledge, prior experiences, frames of reference and performance styles of ethnically diverse students to make learning outcomes more relevant and effective for them. So moving on now for showing opportunities for being a global teacher in the classroom. I've chosen two different examples, two different activities that could be used when connecting being a global teacher to local, to your normal learning outcomes provided from the curriculum. So the first activity is connecting learning goals with a global educational goal. So teachers do this by displaying a set of language learning goals and a set of global educational goals, which you can see down the bottom. Once these are listed, the teacher's job is to design effective, enjoyable class activities that achieve both sets of objectives in an integrative, creative way. So for this activity, students are practicing the present perfect, for example, asking questions, have you ever? And the global education goal is to raise awareness of environmental problems. So in this activity, students ask present perfect questions like, have you ever seen a polluted river, an oil spill, a dead tree, litter on the ground? And then the students are put into groups and they do an eco survey about environmental action by asking each other, their peers, the following present perfect questions like, have you ever picked up litter from the ground, turned lights off to save energy, used something that was recycled, given money to an environmental organisation, etc. So I found this first activity a really simple way of linking the two goals within the classroom. The second activity is something a little bit more lighthearted and a little bit more fun for the students, and it is called the bubble game. And the bubble game helps students to learn about indirect disease transmission. So to play the game, the students tell students that the teacher is sick with the bubble sickness and you promise not to touch anyone as long as you are sick with the bubble sickness. However, if one of your bubbles lands on someone, that person becomes sick. So students wander around the room, and if a bubble lands on them, they are considered sick. And after 30 seconds, the sick students go to one side of the room and the healthy students go to another side of the room. It's important to debrief students after this activity so that they are able to understand that this is relating to learning, as well as global areas of concern like a current pandemic like we are in. So for the debrief, introduce the concept of indirect and airborne disease transmission and bring the students' attention to how many people can get sick from just one person's sneeze or cough. And then link a think, pair, share discussion by asking what kinds of illnesses do you think are spread in this way and what kinds of things could help stop the spread of airborne diseases. You then follow on with some inquiry and discussion about how students can link a current pandemic or an outbreak locally as well as globally. So you link the discussion about how a local community would deal with it, as well as how the global or a country or global together can make an impact. And just lastly, for my presentation, I will be asking you some inquiry questions. So moving forward, what steps will you take to ensure you are a global teacher, as well as from what you have learnt today, how could you improve your teaching practices and also inform and help your peers to become better global teachers? And that finishes my presentation. I will stop sharing my screen and thank you very much for listening.